I think the first thing I want to say is, and this is no disrespect to the Inspector General nominee, a very important position, but I think these three jobs are three of the most important positions in the United States government. Number one is cyber. It's something that is a crucial challenge facing us, and I hope, Ms. Evans, as you're in the councils of the administration, there are two things I would urge you to urge. One is to set up a structure so that there is one point of authority on the issues of cyber throughout the United States government. I go to these hearings all the time and everybody says the whole of government. When I hear that, I think none of government. That means nobody's in charge and nobody's accountable. And I believe that we need a leadership position because there are at least 7 or 8 agencies, by my count, that have responsibilities in cyber, not to mention working with the private sector. So that's number one, is please urge the administration to think about a cyber coordination function. Secondly, we need a cyber doctrine. Or a strategy to make our adversaries understand that they will pay a price for a cyber attack on this country. Right now, we have there is no deterrence. We're entirely defensive, and ultimately that's a losing strategy. So those are two things that I think are critically important to defending this country. Otherwise, we know that a cyber attack is coming at some point. It's the longest wind-up for a punch in the history of the world. And shame on us if we're not prepared for it. And the best way to prepare for it is to deter it so that those who would attack us in this means understand that there will be a price to be paid. It will be a serious one. It will be proportional to the attack. So with that, I hope those are two messages that you can carry back.
I would be happy to do that, sir.
Thank you. And Dr. Fall, no real questions except to say, the science, the work that you do is in terms of science overall is absolutely critically important. Going back 10 or 15, 20 years to the science support from the Department of Energy that led to the fracking revolution that changed the energy face of America. Incredibly important position, and I'm delighted to have a person of your qualifications and history in that position. Mr. Simmons, I apologize I was late for the introductory statements, and I read your pre-filed testimony, and I noticed that you said that your father is here from Utah, and I've scanned the audience, and I think I've... Thank you, sir, for being here. Mr. Simmons, you and I had what we would characterize in the communique business as a full and frank discussion yesterday. I think there's some points that you've made that are very important, and I really appreciate them. One is the emphasis on storage. I think that's the big next issue as we develop renewables. Storage is a crucial element, and I really appreciate your looking at that and looking at it in a broad way, not just batteries, but other kinds of storage. And efficiency, which you discussed with Senator Portman, the cheapest kilowatt hour is the one you don't use. And there's tremendous potential for further efficiency developments. Finally, I expressed my concern because your career prior to this job was in more conservative think tanks and critical of renewable energy and the development of these energy forms. And your office provided a speech that you made to the department that I think was reassuring to me. So in the remainder of my time, give me some assurance that you're not here to diminish or undercut developments moving us toward a renewable future, but in fact you're entering into this job not someone who is inimical to the mission, but is supportive of the mission of the agency to which you've been appointed.
Well, let me say to start with is that there is no other place in DOE that I'd rather be than in the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. That the last year that I have spent there has been great and very fulfilling, and I have the opportunity to work with what I think are the best people in DOE. No offense to my other panelists. You know, I believe in EERE's mission, which is to advance American leadership in renewable energy and energy efficiency. That this is a different job than jobs that I've had in the past. This job is to advance that leadership and to do it with the tools that Congress has given the leader of that office. For the most part, that is to focus on R&D through funding, and so it is critically important for as I view that role, that we are making sure that the funding gets that we work hand in hand with the national labs, that we have a good R&D kind of roadmap, that we are talking with industry, that we're talking with stakeholders. One of the things that I've worked very hard to do over the last year is to take meetings with almost everyone that would come and talk to me, to hear their concerns, to hear from the industry about, is this the correct roadmap? Are we going in the right place? And so it's important, from my perspective, to talk to the solar industry, to talk to the wind industry. You know, industries that we've had policy differences in the past, it is fair to say, to make sure that in this job, in this role, in promoting research and development, that you know, that the department is aligned with what research and development makes the most sense. That is what I see is the role of the assistant secretary and at EERE, and if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, that's what I will continue to do.
And will you commit to me that you will faithfully implement the policies established by Congress and the funding that are established by Congress for this office?
Yes, one of the key parts to me about doing this job is to be a good soldier. I've tried to do that for the last year as in the role as Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary, and I will do that in the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.